In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on February 21st, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Detroit Pistons versus Chicago Bulls. This matchup feels like a movie you have seen way too many times already. The powerhouse rolls into town with everyone talking about how hot they are, and the struggling home team gets treated like background extras on someone else's mixtape. Detroit comes in acting like the clear class of the East, winning on the road, walking into the United Center with that big favorite energy. And the whole setup screams that this is supposed to be their night from the jump. The numbers back that vibe up. Their efficiency on both ends looks strong. The offense scores at a high clip per possession. The defense keeps opponents in check. And that combination gives them one of those shiny net ratings that analytics folks bring up on podcasts all the time. They do not even need to push the pace to feel dangerous. They are fine grinding through half-court sets, walking the ball up, and slowly squeezing the air out of your shot quality like they are tightening a vise one click at a time. Chicago lives on the opposite end of that spectrum. The Bulls want rhythm, tempo, and a bit of chaos. They like to get into possessions quicker, let the ball fly earlier in the clock, and lean into streaks of energy more than cold, mechanical structure. The offense is not broken, it is just streaky, the kind of group that can look electric for 5 minutes, then suddenly spend 3 trips in a row walking away shaking their heads, while the defense sits there with a reputation for giving up more clean looks than any coach can tolerate for long. You can feel the turbulence in how the roster has been reshaped. The front office spun the trade wheel, moved big pieces like Nikola Vucevic out, shuffled roles, and suddenly this is a team still figuring out who gets the ball when things get tense late in games. That type of uncertainty sounds like a reason to fade them, but weirdly, it can also make them dangerous as big home underdogs, because they play like a group with nothing to lose, and that loosens shoulders, loosens shot selection, and makes them more willing to punch above their weight for stretches. Itself quietly leans toward the ugly side. Itself quietly leans toward the ugly side of the spectrum, where the favorite does just enough but never quite shakes the underdog completely. Detroit just came off a charged, emotional statement win at Madison Square Garden. Their main guard put on the kind of performance that fuels talk shows and social feeds, and those games can leave a team a little flat emotionally in the next outing, even if nobody admits it on the record. Chicago, on the other hand, has been hearing the noise about their skid. Clips of them getting cooked on defense circulate. The local chatter is not kind, and that kind of public doubt tends to poke at professional pride in a way that shows up in energy, physicality, and effort on their home floor. The injury and availability picture nudges things even more toward a grimy, closer than expected script. Detroit expects to be without Isaiah Stewart because of suspension. Depth big Tolu Smith is hovering in that questionable space, and that chips away at some of their sturdiness in certain lineups. Chicago is juggling its own front-court uncertainty, with names like Guerschon Yabusele and Jaden Ivey sitting in that game-time decision bucket, Zach Collins listed as out, and Noah Essengu shut down for the year, which forces patchwork rotations that are rarely pretty but sometimes weirdly feisty. Put all of this together, and you get one of those hold-your-nose situations that bettors quietly love and hate at the same time. You are not backing the clearly better team on paper. You are backing the home side that just has to hang in the fight long enough to keep things respectable for 4 quarters. As our first pick for this matchup, the Chicago Bulls to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The scoring side of this matchup carries a different kind of tension, because everything about how these teams have played can trick you into expecting a flashy shootout, but the details of how they actually interact lean more toward a slower, more stubborn kind of game. Detroit has built its identity around defense first, sitting near the top of the league in defensive efficiency, contesting shots with discipline, and turning every possession into a bit of a chore for the team on the other side. They are comfortable living in the half court, walking the ball up, using the clock, and insisting that you execute again and again, instead of letting the game devolve into a sprint that spills into transition highlights every other trip. Chicago leans toward the opposite approach. They like to run, they like to push, and they are happier when the game feels a little wild. But that chaos comes with a trade-off. The offense surges and stalls, and the defense often opens more doors than it closes. That faster pace can give the illusion of automatic overs, but anyone who watches a lot of League Pass knows that fast does not always mean efficient, especially when possessions end in rush jumpers or clunky turnovers that never even make the box score feel that big. Their volatility means you can get long stretches where shots rim out, sets fall apart, and both teams get stuck in a slog that looks much different than what early scoring averages might suggest. Familiarity also plays a sneaky role here. These teams know each other. They have shared the court multiple times already this season. They have film on all the pet actions, and that kind of repetition usually helps the defenders cut off the first and second options more often. Coaches tweak their schemes, shrink driving lanes, shade help earlier, and you end up with possessions that burn more clock, lead to tougher looks, and keep the scoreboard from truly catching fire for long stretches. The injury landscape quietly leans the same way. Neither side is fully healthy, rotations tighten, and with front court bodies missing or limited, coaches tend to lean into more conservative coverage around the rim, less aggressive crashing, and fewer free-for-all transition pushes off every miss. Shorter benches often mean fewer players who can run all night, so tempo cools naturally, and rather than a track meet, you can end up watching something that looks more like a Central Division rock fight, with physical defense, fewer clean runouts, and a lot of possessions that die in the half court. When you wrap all of that together, the stylistic clash, the familiarity, the injury-driven adjustments, and the way both teams can drift into grinded-out stretches, the script points more toward a game that ends with fewer points than those season scoring numbers might make you expect at first glance. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Memphis Grizzlies versus Miami Heat. The Memphis Grizzlies head into Miami for a Saturday matchup at Kaseya Center, and their current form tells a pretty clear story. They just fell to the Nuggets, squeezed past the Jazz with that late comeback, and now have the Kings on deck, all while dropping 4 of their last 5 overall. Memphis is rolling out a skeleton crew again, with Ja Morant, Zach Edey, Santi Aldama, and Cedric Coward all still out, so the burden falls on the supporting cast. Olivier Maxence Prosper stepping up with 23 points against Utah right after the All-Star break was a fun twist, and honestly, it fits this version of the Grizzlies. This front office moved on from Jaren Jackson Jr., basically signaling that the rest of this season is about development and, let's be honest, tanking more than chasing wins. Their history in South Beach is a bit sneaky, with Memphis winning in 4 of its last 5 trips to this building and sitting at 8-4 straight up over the last 12 meetings. The catch is that most of those results came when Memphis was actually loaded and competitive, not this patched-together rotation trying to survive night to night. This current group has just 1 win in its last 11 road games, and that travel profile shows up when the game tightens and late possessions matter. Miami comes in with a much different vibe after taking care of the Pelicans and then destroying the Hawks 128-97 on the road. Tyler Herro returning gives this offense a jolt, the spacing looks cleaner, and the whole group simply feels more dangerous when he is back in rhythm. They have split their last 10 overall, but that hides the fact that they have now won 2 straight and 3 of their last 4, which hints at a team quietly heating up. There is also a real standings push in play, with the 76ers in 6th just 1 game ahead and the Raptors in 5th not that far away, so every soft spot on the schedule matters a bit more. Miami has covered in 4 of its last 5 at home and holds a 5-2 straight-up mark in 7 games against Southwest Division teams, which lines up nicely with this particular opponent. Even the scheduling angle helps them, as they have taken 9 of 13 contests on the second night of a back-to-back this season, including their last 3 in a row, so fatigue has not been a deal-breaker. Put all of that together, and this looks like one of those spots where the more motivated, healthier, and deeper team is strongly positioned to win by margin against a short-handed squad that is not chasing results the same way. As our first pick for this matchup, the Miami Heat to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full-game side pick. The Memphis Grizzlies are averaging 115.3 points on 45.8% shooting and allowing 117.5 points on 46.9% shooting. The Memphis Grizzlies are shooting 35.1% from beyond the arc and 79.7% from the free throw line. The Memphis Grizzlies are allowing 36.1% shooting from deep and are grabbing 45 rebounds per game. The Miami Heat are averaging 119.6 points on 46.1% shooting and allowing 117.2 points on 45.8% shooting. The Miami Heat are shooting 36% from beyond the arc and 78.7% from the free throw line. The Miami Heat are allowing 34.7% shooting from deep and are grabbing 46.9 rebounds per game. Those numbers paint a picture of two teams that are more comfortable trading baskets than locking games into a defensive grind right now. Memphis, leaning on lesser-known players and younger pieces, tends to play with a freer style, which can mean quick shots, more threes, and some defensive breakdowns sprinkled in. That kind of open floor feel often pushes totals higher, especially when the rotations are short and the effort can waver late. Miami's offense has looked sharper with Harrow back, and dropping 128 points on the Hawks shows how high their scoring ceiling sits when the ball is moving and shooters are in rhythm. The Heat are hitting from deep at a solid clip and getting close to 80% at the line, and Memphis is at a similar level from the stripe, which matters when foul trouble and late-game whistles start piling on extra points. Rebounding numbers are strong for both sides, which usually means more second-chance looks, more putbacks, and fewer empty trips, another quiet driver of higher totals. Playing on a back-to-back can sometimes hurt shooting, but it can just as easily soften defensive intensity, especially on closeouts and on the glass, and that often tips the scale toward points rather than stops. With both teams allowing well over 110 points per game and giving up respectable percentages from deep, the conditions lean toward a game where offense flows more easily than defense. All told, the matchup suggests a scoreboard that stays busy from tip to final horn rather than a slow, ugly grind. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Houston Rockets versus New York Knicks. The Houston Rockets head into Madison Square Garden on Saturday to face the New York Knicks in what feels like a pretty interesting spot for both sides. It is one of those games where recent form, confidence, and a bit of pride all crash into each other at once. Houston rolls in after beating the Hornets and dropping one to the Clippers, with the Jazz up next on their schedule. They have taken 3 of their last 4, which says a lot about how quietly solid they have been lately. Even without Fred VanVleet steering the offense and Steven Adams anchoring the middle, they have kept their rhythm, which is not easy when key veterans are missing. That kind of stretch tends to tighten up a locker room because everyone feels a little more responsible for the result. New York, on the other side, just beat the 76ers, then turned around and stumbled at home against the Pistons, with the Bulls looming after this one. The Knicks have still won 10 of their last 13, so the broader picture is positive, but they have cooled off a bit compared to that red-hot run they were on. Miles McBride is out again, which slightly trims their guard and wing rotation, and even small absences can matter when you are trying to sustain momentum over a long stretch. That home loss to Detroit was a reality check, especially on their own floor, and sometimes that kind of result lingers more than anyone wants to admit. Interestingly, these two have not faced each other yet this season, so there is no direct recent reference point to lean on, only current form and style. Right now, it is actually Houston that appears to be the steadier team game to game, helped by that statement win over a hot Hornets group on Thursday. New York is still strong overall, but they feel a bit off their peak, like a team that may be recalibrating rather than surging. In a building like Madison Square Garden, where pressure can flip from the visiting team to the home side in a hurry if the crowd gets tense, that edge in current confidence can matter more than it seems on paper. So if you stack the recent performances, the injuries, and how each team is trending, Houston looks slightly more likely to stay competitive throughout and push this into a real fight rather than a comfortable Knicks home win. As our first pick for this matchup, the Houston Rockets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Rockets are averaging 114.6 points on 47.1% shooting from the field while allowing 109.6 points on 45.8% shooting. They hit 37% from 3 and 75.5% at the free throw line, and they give up 34.9% from deep while pulling down 48.6 rebounds per game. That mix says they can score, but they also defend well enough to drag opponents into more deliberate possessions, especially with that strong work on the glass limiting easy second chances. The Knicks, for their part, are putting up 118 points per game on 47.2% shooting and giving up 111.9 points on 45.9% shooting. They are connecting on 37.8% of their threes and 79% of their free throws, while allowing 35.7% from beyond the arc and hauling in 46.3 rebounds per game. So both teams can shoot from deep at a healthy clip, and both clean the boards at a high level, which sounds like a recipe for fireworks but can also create a more physical, grind-heavy game when neither side is giving up many easy looks. Here is the thing, when you have two teams that defend the three-point line reasonably well and rebound this effectively, the game can slow down without anyone consciously trying to play slow. Missed shots usually mean one shot and done instead of wild scramble sequences, and that can quietly tilt a matchup toward a more controlled style. Add the emotional context of the Knicks trying to steady themselves after that rough Pistons loss and Houston looking to keep its recent run intact, and there is a decent chance both groups lock in on the defensive end a little more than usual. In a situation like that, the overall scoring environment often lands lower than the pure offensive metrics would suggest, even with capable shooters all over the floor. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.